Oh, good morning and welcome to Distracted Thoughts. I'm here again with my friend Dathan. I'm Aaron. It's a beautiful day. Actually, it is actually a gorgeous day outside today. Starting off the morning again. Good conversation beforehand. Dathan, how are you, sir? What's going on with you?
I'm good, man.
Yeah?
I've been good busy.
Okay.
That means some people consider busy bad. I'm good busy right now, with
Right.
businesses and stuff. So one of my startups is kind of picking up and getting known,
Right.
so it takes a little bit of stress off when there's actually money coming in. So hired my first part-time employee.
Right.
And that's going well.
Right.
So it's been good.
You said she started last.
She started last week.
Right.
And she just works a couple days a week. And it's really helps to that first employee is always scary.
Right.
I mean, I've owned multiple businesses, and that first employee is always really scary because everything you're paying them comes off of your profit for the business.
Right.
But even last week, I was able to get jobs turned out, and while she was doing some of the work, and I was able to focus on the things that I haven't focused on in a month, and I actually gained a couple jobs because of it.
Nice.
So it already has started working. So,
so
it's been good.
You've been able to do more. You know, for us, for us, family wise, business has been good. Actually, I think I told you last week, signed the lease or had to have a guy starting. He's actually started moving in, should be starting his 1st of May is when he can actually start taking insurance stuff. So we're already expanding. Funny thing is, and I think you and I have talked about this a little bit, but he came in and he was looking, and he's actually a licensed supervisor because he's actually been a counselor longer than I have. And he's looking around going, hey, have you thought about expanding? Have you thought about, you could add an office here and you could add 2 offices back here. And so he's already doing what you and I had talked about.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, you could have a full clinic in the space we have here, in the space that you have here. And he's like, I don't want to run it. I'm not a business guy. And I'm like, maybe.
That's what you say now.
Yeah. But he has the clinical supervision because he's been at it long enough. I've never pursued it. It's not something that I ever wanted to do, or am that interested in. But he has the clinical supervision that he could actually literally get kids straight out of college and have them work, and we could vet them, and then. And it's a testing ground. You keep them while you're supervising them, and it's an understood contract that at the end of the supervised time, you can either opt for them to stay, or you can say, it's been nice knowing you. Yes, you've completed your supervision, but you're not exactly our style.
Yeah.
And kind of let them go. So with all the stuff that's going on, springtime, lots going on, I actually wanted to change. I wanted to, we talked a little bit what was I thinking? I want to talk about what makes us laugh because sometimes we forget, you and I can get pretty serious sometimes. Yeah. But one of the things and we get serious in some of our conversations, but you know what we do a lot, you and I, when we talk, is we laugh.
We do.
But we don't talk. We haven't talked about what makes us laugh doing life, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious for our listeners, people out there, what makes you laugh, man? What's that thing that makes you laugh?
Wow. I don't know that I've ever been asked that question. I'm trying not to think too deeply about it, but it's one of those things that's like, I don't know that I've been asked that question. Like really laugh, like not just a ha-ha.
Yeah.
But really laugh. And the last time I can think that I was like genuinely just like laughing until my cheeks hurt, honestly was Valentine's this year when we went out, me and my wife went out with you and your wife.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a specific thing. Honestly, it was the comfort of being able to just be ourselves.
Yeah.
whether that meant a serious comment or a maybe slightly inappropriate comment. Whatever it may be, we were able to laugh about things that was some people might even find offensive.
Oh yeah.
You know, but I think when I'm truly, what truly makes me laugh is when I'm in a situation that I am comfortable in. Yeah. I'm 100% comfortable. Yeah. I'm not worrying about judgment or anything like that. Those type of conversations, I get to be myself and I get to laugh and giggle and be goofy.
Right.
So that's probably my biggest thing. I actually also really enjoy comedy, like stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I don't ever go to them.
Right.
But I really, really enjoy stand-up comedy. I watch a lot of it online.
Yeah, me too.
I've never actually been to a stand-up comedy act ever.
No?
Never. So I keep trying to like schedule one for me and my wife to go to, but they're all in Spokane, so they're all 2.5 hours away, and they're always late at night.
Right.
So it's like, do you go to something that starts at 6 or 7, it goes till 10, 11, and then you drive back and it's 2 o'clock in the morning when you get back. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of a difficult thing to just pop into.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to my wife getting into this improv class, which starts in 2 weeks.
Oh, does it? Oh, nice.
So she's going to be with another person teaching the class and coaching it.
Right.
And
your wife is hilarious.
Yes.
I know she doesn't necessarily think so, but Alexis, you are funny.
Exactly. I can't wait because what happens is she gets. Everybody's sense of humor is different.
Yeah, right? Of course.
Everybody's sense of humor is different. And, I mean, I love where we live.
Right.
I'm not downing it.
I think I know where you're going.
But
I think I know where you're going.
People don't have the same style sense of humor up here as they do in other places I've been.
Right.
And it's very, like, if you are sarcastic or you are trying to be funny by using, I don't know, a real situation that happened in the community.
Yeah.
People don't like it. And they don't get it.
Yeah.
They look at you and they're like, what do you mean? And they try to be logical about it. And you're like, no, I'm joking around.
Oh, that's the best humor.
Dude, it's the best humor. Real life is the best humor because life is hilarious if you let it be.
Yeah.
And so it's really, what's happened is it's really like pulled her into thinking that, oh, well, then nothing I say is really funny. So I'm so excited about this because she's going out of town to do it. So she's getting into a group of people who kind of don't have that mindset. That love improv, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna bring her out of her shell, and she's gonna be able to do what she absolutely loves.
Right.
Little tidbit: her dream was to be on Saturday Night Live. Like that is still a dream of hers. Like
old Saturday Night Live.
Yes, that's what it was. Like she watched the 50-year or whatever it was reunion or whatever, and she's like, Saturday Night Live's not what it used to be.
No.
It's so like, it's more scripted now. Like back then it was literally all improv.
Yep.
And so like she likes the old like Will Ferrell back then when, you know, it was the Key and Peele, the original. Well, that wasn't Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
But that style comedy. And she loves that.
Right.
But watching her be happy and laugh, I get such a kick out of. Like the other night when we were sitting at the house
That was good.
and I was showing little videos, she was so embarrassed that I was showing her to you. You were dying. You were rolling on the couch.
She, like I said, she's hilarious. I love that kind of stuff, that kind of real life. I mean, her Stabby Award.
Her Stabby Award. The most stabbiest knife of ever.
Yeah, right. I mean, you know, that kind of thing. I agree with you. I don't know when this community took itself so seriously that it has to be, you know, we don't talk like that. Man, you couldn't write some of the things that happen, and they're hilarious.
Yes.
And they are funny. I'm like,
you want to see the humor side of this community? Mm-hmm. Go to one of the street dances. Mm-hmm. Sit on one of the tables on the outskirts and just people watch.
Yeah.
You could write a year's worth of bits off of that.
Well, okay. But you remember last year? We went to Kootenai River Days.
Yep.
Had a blast. Watching people, hanging out with the folks who we were hanging out with. It was fun and it was funny because you're like, oh, I see where that one's going. Oh, watch that. Oh, he just said something he wasn't supposed to.
You can see expression change. You can't even hear the conversations.
Right. One of the things, and Megan and I do it, we like to sit and we will literally act out what people are saying to each other.
By their reactions on their face.
By the reactions on their face. We'll literally start to talk out the script and it'll just be absolutely ridiculous stuff. And it's fun and it's funny and it's like...
And you're not making fun of the people.
Right.
That's what so many people get offended with. Oh, you're sitting around making fun. No, we're not. We're entertaining ourselves with what's going on around us.
Yeah.
We're not saying that this person is actually the person we're portraying them to be. We're looking at a visual and creating a character in our head and making it.
Yeah.
You're literally just creating a character.
Yeah.
It's not really that person. It's not that person thinks. It's not that person feels. It's not that person.
Right.
Some of the best movies, books, and everything were all based off of real people in comedy. If you look at stand-up comedians and you watch any good ones, the majority of what they base their comedy off of is real life.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean,
one of my favorites that I watch, and I watch lots of them. I find as I've gotten older, I don't appreciate the sex comedy. I don't appreciate that as much. That's kind of stuff like, I'm past that. Let's get into real stuff. But there are guys like Nate Bargatze.
Mm-hmm.
I love him. He's a clean comedian, but he makes fun of life. Right?
He does.
I mean, like one of his bits that just makes me roll. I was going to community college. I was taking speech. I thought they were going to teach me how to talk. And he's like, there's a reason why it's called community college, because they're introducing to community, because you're never going to leave.
It's so true. I never thought about it that
way. So ones like that. Fluffy.
Yeah.
He's another one. Just as a big guy myself, I love his comedy because he makes fun of it. He says some serious stuff, but he makes fun of it.
Yeah, he does.
I remember one of his ones that just I don't care how many times I hear it, I just roll laughing. He talks about he went and bought a box of donuts, and then he gets pulled over while he has his box of donuts with the cops, and he's like, "Did you smell them?" Like, what? Who would? And I believe he likely really did that, because that's the way.
That's just he is.
That's who he is. But that kind of stuff, that he introduces real life scenarios. He talks about his friends. He talks about things that are going on, and it's funny.
It is. What I've realized is, like, I've been around people and I've kind of told them, we've talked about comedy and stuff before, and I've told them that, a lot of these comedians base things off of things that actually happen in their life,
Mm-hmm.
That actually happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
And one guy that I'm friends with, he's very dry.
Mm-hmm.
He tries to look at everything logical.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't look at anything as comedy. And when I tell him something like that, he'd say things like, well, nothing ever happens funny in my life. And what I realize is that if you look for the comedy and you don't look for the seriousness in life, comedy is all around you.
Dude,
it happens to you every single day.
Yep.
But if you go through life looking for only the seriousness of life, you don't think anything funny ever happens around you.
Right.
So that's the difference with these comedians. They go through life looking at life as a comedy. Like they're walking through this comedy in life and what happened today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas people who go through it seriously ignore the comedy because it doesn't benefit them or doesn't push them forward or nothing like that. When really, truthfully, it could probably break up their monotony of their day.
Yeah.
I find myself doing that too. I get too serious. That's kind of why we decided not to do a serious one.
Right.
I get too serious.
Right. Well, you get into it gets the creativity flowing.
Yeah.
Right. It gets the other parts of your brain. Like if you're so programmed in, if you're so in one place, it's not good.
Yeah.
Right? You live there. If you can't look and go, man, that's funny right there.
Yeah.
That's and just have that good gut wrenching laugh.
And laugh at yourself.
And laugh at yourself.
If you can't like laugh when you do something that is just stupid,
right,
then you're not going to be able to laugh at other people.
Well, the embarrassment of I'm on the phone with my, I'm on the phone with my wife, and I'm like, I'm trying to get done for the end of the day, and I'm like, I got my keys, got my glasses. Where's my phone?
You're holding it, talking on it.
Yeah, where's my phone? And my wife will play along. I don't know where your phone is. I have no idea.
Have you looked in your desk drawers?
Right.
Have you
Right.
Did you leave it in the bathroom? You might want to go check there.
Right. And she'll let that go for a couple minutes, and then it'll be like, you're on it.
I've done it with my sunglasses on top of my head.
Yeah.
Have my sunglasses on top of my head. Been doing this right here. Looking because the sun's in my eyes and being like, man, I know I brought my sunglasses. I can't find them though. And go on, and then my wife or somebody else will be like, dude, they're on your head. Oh crap! And I feel stupid, but I gotta laugh at myself.
Well, you gotta laugh if it's not funny. If you can't laugh at those little things, man, you're missing out on a good chunk of experience in life. One of the things you said early on was the comfort thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important too. Not only, with, like I said, you and I, we talk ahead of time. We have some serious conversations, but we laugh. We'll tell stories to each other and we'll laugh about it. But it is literally that comfort factor. It's like I'll test guys out. Right? I'll throw little things out there and see how they react. I'll throw little things out there. And the more and more they'll take it and see how they respond is the more comfortable I am to share more. Because absolutely, there are some guys that if I was to say certain things, they're going to be seriously hard like, okay, I can't joke with this guy. I can't. But like you're in my relation. What the hell language is that? You're in my relationship is years in the making, right?
Yeah.
And it has been that you throw stuff at me, I throw stuff at you. We see how each other reacts, and have yet to be offended by anything we've thrown out. And so I think that's what has allowed the comedy,
exactly,
the funny stuff to be like,
because we've tested each other. We're like, how far can I push this?
Right.
And then when one of us laughs about it, we're like, all right, cool, we can go there. Okay, that's cool.
right. Yep, that's actually.
And when I want to get you to laugh, I show you pictures like I did this morning.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't even immediate laughter. It was like.
Well, because it was kind of a halfway business related thing. It's like
it was halfway serious.
It was halfway serious and like.
But you can't not laugh at it.
How can you not? Yeah, sorry, man.
Everybody's laughed at it that I showed it to. So,
I don't know what to think about that. Well, your statement of there's something off here. Yes, there is.
Yep.
Yeah, that is not exactly.
Maybe one day we'll share that with y'all, but not today.
Yeah. It might. It's like I said. It's just off enough that it's almost disturbing, but funny.
Exactly, and that's what I'm gonna try to do is laugh about it.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
but
like our kids too. Your little boys. I think your little boys are hilarious. Right?
I could write a book on comedy, just what comes out of Declan's mouth every day.
Oh, that's what I mean. Like the things that they're thinking, and you're like, okay. My kids are now to the point where they're adult enough, though my daughter, Sophie, sends me Instagram or whatever, different memes and reels. And I wonder, I think her sense of humor is just a little different than mine. Like, I don't find that as funny.
She's over here rolling on the floor laughing. And
yeah, she sends some cat thing or some this or that. while I'm sending fart jokes to my wife and to the rest of the family.
Well, I'll give you a funny that happened literally this morning with Declan.
Yeah.
So he's done eating breakfast. He gets up to go to his room.
Mm-hmm.
He's walking through the dining room, and he steps on. It was one of those like child lock door handles you put on there. You know what I mean? We've pulled them all off of our doors because they've all figured out how to use them now.
Right.
So we pulled them off the doors. So he steps on one that was on the floor, and he slips and he falls. Now it's like a ball.
Yeah,
so
I've seen
he
him.
purposely probably stepped on it because that's just how he is.
Right.
He stepped on it. He slipped and fell. He screamed, and like he was mad. And he gets up, and me and Alexis are just like looking at him like, okay, where's this going to go? You know, is he going to like cry about this? What's going to happen? And he picks up in his hand. He goes, I stepped on this and fell, and nobody put it on the floor but me. And so he couldn't be mad at anybody because he's the one who threw it on the floor, and then he's the one that stepped on it and fell. But he was so mad that he fell. And he's like, nobody put it on the floor but me. And he said, I'm going to throw it away. And he walks into the kitchen and throws it away. He was like, don't laugh at me. I'm like, yep. And we couldn't do nothing but laugh because, I mean, literally it was your fault from beginning to end. So.
Yeah, that's, you know, those kind of things are, you know, what do you do? I mean,
you laugh at it.
Yeah, you have to laugh.
Yeah.
You also, I mean, you try to teach them, hey, buddy, we're not laughing. If they get hurt, hey, we're not laughing at you. We're laughing at the situation. You know, it's nothing you did. It is something you did, but it's not you, right? Yeah. The seriousness with which some people take on life and teach their kids that too.
Oh my gosh.
Like everything is heart surgery or brain surgery or no, it's really not.
Yeah. We was outside last Saturday working in the yard, cleaning up all the branches that fell over the winter. And Declan decides that he's got one of those Strider bikes that don't have pedals. You know what I'm talking about? Glider bikes or whatever. Yeah. So he takes it, and he's too big for it now. We actually just got him new bikes Tuesday, but he's too big for it now. But he still plays with it.
Right.
And he takes it, and I see him on the back porch, and he's looking.
Oh, you see
he looks over, and he looks over, and he's got it in his hand. He's sitting on it, and he looks over, and he sees the skateboard. And I see him, and I'm like, where's this going? I can see his brain going.
Yeah.
And so he gets off, and he takes the skateboard, and he puts it onto the thing, lines it up on the concrete patio, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, he's going to go ride a skateboard. And he grabs a bike. I'm like, what is he doing? And he sets it up on top of the skateboard.
Oh, no.
Because now the Strider bike's tall enough that he can sit on the seat and put his feet on the ground.
Okay.
Because it was too short because he's ingrown. And I was like, Declan, do you think that's a good idea? He said, probably not. And he takes off. He's pushing his feet, and he's got this skate, and he rode it the whole length of the porch. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And he was like making it work, and he gets right to the end, and the porch like drops off.
Yeah.
And he just bails and falls over on his side and gets up, and he goes, it didn't work. And I'm like, and he was like dead serious. I was like, so you figured it out. He didn't die. We ain't going to the hospital. He figured it out. And then of course, Cole goes, can I try that? Whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Be kids, man. Be boys, you know.
It is that kind of stuff. Like you said, that response. Is that a good idea? Probably not.
Well, at least you know.
Yeah. Well,
now you got to test it. This is the process, the theory process. You know, I mean, you got to test it.
Well, as long as you are aware. Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Go for it. Yeah, it is those little things, you know, those little bright moments. Like I said, talking before, things have been busy, time of year, whatnot. But if you can't find that stuff to stop and just enjoy and just bust out at whatever's going on around you, you know, why not? Why not? Why? It's the Joker line. Why so serious?
Why so serious?
Yeah, you know. And and I know that's the villain line, but is it really?
It's only the villain line because they made it the villain line.
Right.
You know what I mean? That somebody decided, well, this should be a villain.
Yeah.
You know, if Batman would have said it, kids would be wearing it on their shirt all the time.
Right.
You know?
Right. But that is the divide in us all. Like, yeah, of course I need to be serious about some things, but this is funny.
Yeah.
But that makes me laugh. That so we're both believers, right? We know that there's something beyond here.
Yeah.
That's we know that there's something else. We're still here, and can we find temporary respite in the things that are funny?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, there's comedy in the Bible.
Yeah.
There's humor in the Bible.
Yeah.
You know, people will misinterpret it or misquote it sometimes, but there is comedy in the Bible. You know, I don't think that a creator could created us with such complexity that and gave us the ability to be funny or have humor and laugh,
Right.
and not use it.
I mean, have you looked at some of the things he made? That he made a duck-billed platypus.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is it a duck? Is it a platypus? I don't know.
Right. Right.
Does it fly? Does it swim? It doesn't have wings.
I mean, it's
is it a land animal? Is it a mammal? Is it a?
I mean,
I don't know.
It's furry, but it lays eggs.
It doesn't have feathers, but yet it lays eggs.
Right. Right. So we are confused here.
Yeah, it makes me think, Scott just up there like, you know what? We need something to laugh about today. Woo! That's what we're going to laugh about. Duck-billed platypus.
Yeah, right. I mean,
going to make everybody question everything.
Yep. You think you know? Here you go.
Yeah, that's right.
You think you know what's going on? Here you go.
There's a lot of animals in Animal Kingdom that are like that you just look at them and go, what?
Right.
Like the dodo bird or whatever.
Right,
And like stuff like that. You're like, that thing was bound to fail.
Right. Well, I mean, so I don't know, like other than to eat, like our area is full of turkeys.
Oh, yeah.
They're everywhere.
They
right?
are.
I don't know how. Those are the stupidest birds on the
They're
face.
so stupid.
They're the stupidest birds on the face of the planet.
They are. Well, I don't know. A grouse comes in close second.
Yeah.
Because I have literally had to get out and kick a grouse to get it out of the middle of the floor. I'm like, I don't want to run you over, and I don't have time to clean you. So, and there's only one of you, and there's not a lot of meat on that. So get.
Yeah,
and they just look at me like.
Yeah, right. I mean, you wonder, like, okay, I understand they're not sentient like we are. They have animal purpose, right? But wow.
Yeah.
A little bit more.
I mean, their head's pretty tiny, so that brain capacity has to be very small.
Right, right.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. But you're right. You look at all the things that have been created and go, that's funny. That's beautiful. You know, why be so serious about it all the time?
Yeah. And why have to always figure it out? So I spent the majority of my life having to know the why about everything. If I drove by a new building being built, I would literally spend time making phone calls and looking into research to figure out what that building was going to be.
Really?
Yeah. All the time for years. For the majority of my life. Like I had to know the why.
Right.
If I was sitting in a restaurant and I looked up and there were all the lights were in one row, right? But then there was one light off to the side over here. I'd be like, well, why is that one over there? And I would sit there the entire dinner and try to figure that out. Maybe there used to be a serving station over there. Maybe and they needed extra light. I would come up with all the scenarios in my head and spend time doing that. I would have to know the why about everything. And so I was looking at everything and I have, in the past, literally just a couple of years, I've been like, it doesn't matter why for that. It's not going to change me.
Right.
It's not going to change my life. Oh, they're building something cool. You know what? In a month, I'll know what it is because they'll put a sign up.
Yeah.
And I just go on about my life. So yeah, the not having to know why. Why do we have a duck-billed platypus? I don't know. You know what?
Doesn't affect your life.
I may never know. Maybe one day I'll be standing in front of God and he'd be like, you get one question. I'm like, what's the duck-billed platypus? What is it? Maybe that's my question. You know, I mean, he's gonna be like, really? You're gonna use that? That's your one question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
You know, the rest I figure you got it handled, but that one is the one. That one. I mean, why that one?
Yeah.
No, that's absolutely. But it's so. So are you a dad joke guy?
I am a dad joke guy. I have a dad joke book. So
Do you? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. My kids have got me a book of dad jokes. I'm not great at it. I don't commit them to memory.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I'll read them from time to time.
Yeah.
I have a few that I use that I've used my entire life because my dad used to say them that originally wasn't dad jokes to me and now have turned into dad jokes, and I've even turned some of my kids when we were traveling, Addison and Garrett, they would see things online or hear somebody say something and they would overuse it.
Okay.
I'm talking like every chance they got. It's like back when we used to listen to songs on the radio.
Yeah.
And a new song would come out and they would play it every 12 minutes.
Yeah, I remember.
And to the point of like, I liked that song 2 days ago, but now I've heard it 47 times. I don't like it anymore.
Right. Yep.
So that's what my kids would do.
Yeah.
So one of the things they would do would be, we'd be driving and there would be a sign that says road work ahead. And they would be like, well, I sure hope so. The road works ahead.
Yeah, right.
And the first time they said it, it was funny. Second time they said it, it was funny. The 112th time they said it, when you travel for literally live on the road,
right?
It was old. Yeah. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna make a dad joke out of it. I'm gonna start using it all the time until they get annoyed with it. Yeah. So I still to this day use it this day, and they're like, "Oh, such a dad joke, so stupid." I'm like, "Y'all started it." So I've turned things that they do into dad jokes now, and they're like, "Oh, such a dad joke." Yeah. So yeah, I don't have like if somebody was say like, "What's your favorite dad joke?" I don't commit them to memory either.
Yeah.
I'll read them from time to time out loud and laugh, or I'll send one to somebody. I'm part of a Facebook group called Dad Jokes, but I've been liking it less and less. It's like it's moved more towards like 18 plus dad jokes, and I'm like, it's just not. I don't care about that. I want something funny.
Well, that goes back to that. Don't particularly care for the sexualization of jokes. I don't need that. There's enough humor out there
that you ain't gotta use
that you don't have to use that. You don't have to go there. Yeah, talking about the road signs, the ones that my kids we get a kick out of is the no dumping sign. I'm like, don't worry, kids, we can go a mile down, then you can dump. And they're like, Dad, we're not gonna do that. Well, I just want to give you the option. It's okay. No dumping. It's I'm not. Yeah, I've never been. I love them. I laugh at them, and especially as I've gotten older, I find them funnier than they probably should be at this point. Talking about, and I don't know who they are. I would give them credit if I did, but there's like 3 guys they all camo out, and they're like hunting.
Yep.
And they tell each other dad jokes.
Yes. But they do it quietly because they're duck hunting or they're
yeah. Dude, those guys are.
Have you seen? I don't know if it's a knockoff of them or if it's them and they've just kind of rebranded themselves. They're AI digitized aliens now setting.
I have. Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the same guy. It's the same. I don't know if it's somebody just taking their bit and turning it into AI.
Yeah.
But it's even funnier to watch that because these aliens laugh and do things. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I mean, those are, like I said, watching people that do these jokes are stupid. And yet, and I think that's part of the reason why you're laughing at them is because they are so ridiculous and so bad that they're just funny.
They are.
They are funny.
I wish I could remember some of them because I see them all the time.
Right.
But yeah, they're hilarious.
Well, they don't necessarily warrant brain space. There's only one joke recently that I heard that I actually have, I don't know why, is stuck in my memory. And I think it's hilarious. If you're a lawyer, you would hate it. But it's one of those
lay it on me.
Oh,
come on, quit talking about it. I'm putting you on the spot. Do it now.
All right. So there's this lawyer and this priest, and they've both passed away, and they've gotten to heaven. And when they show up to heaven, they're greeted by St. Peter, whomever. They're greeted, and they're getting showed around, and as we know, God says there in my house there are many, many rooms, all are welcome, essentially. So he's walking through, and this lawyer and this priest come in, and they're walking through, and St. Peter shows the priest his room, and it's just a simple room, nothing fancy, bed, basic stuff. And the priest is like, "Oh, thank you, I'm glad to be here," going through and welcomes him in. And so they keep walking, and they go, and the St. Peter goes and has a lawyer and shows him his room, and opens the door, and his room is like a palace, and it's beautiful and gold laden and all this beautiful stuff. And he's like, "Wow, this is amazing, why?" And then he turns to St. Peter and says, "Hey, so I gotta ask, why was the priest's room so simple, and why is my room so nice?" And St. Peter says, "Because there are thousands of him here, but you're the first lawyer we've had."
Yep.
Yep. I mean, like, oh, okay. and I don't know why it just kind of stuck with me, like, I love jokes that pick on people.
Yeah.
For whatever your group is, I don't care. Make fun of me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, those the real things, the ones that are just slightly offensive, but those are some of but that are real.
That are real.
Right? That are real.
And they're usually true.
Right.
People only find them offensive because they are offended by it.
Right.
You can't, that's something that, I don't want to get on a serious conversation of offense, but you can't offend me unless I let you.
Absolutely.
You cannot offend me unless I allow you to do it. You can say whatever you want, but unless I look at it and go, you know what, I'm offended by it. Unless I choose to be offended, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the world does not look at it that way. Yeah. They're like, oh, well, you're offending me. That person can't offend you by anything they say unless you allow it.
Right.
You are your own self.
Right.
So if you decide you want to be offended by it, then you can be offended by anything.
There was something like we were at your house the other night and talking about Declan, and he came up and he said something, and I think, because I'm a big guy, dude, I make fun of myself. I don't care what people say. I know, I make fun of myself. But remember when your son came up and he said, and I took it as a compliment. I thought it was funny. He's like, "Oh, he doesn't look as fluffy as he did," or something like that.
He said his belly's not as big or something like that.
Yeah. And I'm like, in other circumstances, somebody might find that offensive. I think it's pretty funny.
That's a compliment, It's not as big. He's not as big anymore. Okay. Because our 4-year-old doesn't know to say, "Well, you look like you've lost weight." No, he's like, "You're not as big as anymore."
Thanks, thanks, Declan. I appreciate that. But you're right. It is we choose to be offended. We choose. Like, dude, we live in a redneck place.
Oh my goodness!
And if you can't, I make fun of my family, and about half of them think it's funny, and the other half, like I said, we had a family reunion, and I said, there are more tattoos than teeth here. And
yes. See, I find that shit funny. I can relate to that with a family reunion. So.
Yeah. And, one of my cousins is just rolling laughing, and his mom is like, and he's like, "Mom, it's true." He's like, because I think he has like 20 tattoos.
Yeah.
And he's like, "I have like 4 false teeth, so I have the same amount of tattoos as I am." So even in himself, he's like, yeah, that's about right.
I heard one the other day that is, I'm probably going to screw it up because, like I said, I don't commit things to memory when it comes to jokes. But it said so. A bunch of guys get to heaven, and there's 2 lines, and one line says passive men that allow their wives to rule their life, or something like that. and the other one says, "A man who makes his own decisions," right? Or non-passive or something like that. And the line that said passive men is super long. And then over in the other line, there's one guy standing there. And they're like, what in the world? You know, this one guy really? And so they go up to him and they ask him, they're like, hey, why are you standing? What did you do in life? Why are you standing in this line? He goes, you know, I really don't know. My wife just told me to stand here.
Well,
yeah. So some people might find that offensive.
Yes. Some people we know actually would. I'm crying. That is actually.
See, it's truth. Truth hits. It hits differently. So
it is true. You know, I mean, yes, yeah. That's it. Like today. Yeah, I know you probably have a relatively busy day. I have a relatively busy day, but just spending the time laughing through it. Man, there's not going to be anything so serious that happens that I can't stop and go, yeah, maybe later I'll laugh about this. Maybe later I'll find it funny. Why not? Yeah. So
yeah, I'm still very, very, very interested in doing a I don't know what we're going to call it yet, but the Distracted Thoughts evening edition.
Yeah.
I don't want to call it After Dark because After Dark gets into a dark place on the internet.
Yeah.
But like evening edition and literally having us in here and then having our wives over here.
Oh.
And being able to just like make it funny, real conversation.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be good.
Well, I say for them, I would actually even take like that third mic and just set it over there so they can yell out stuff and be like, "That's not true," or "No, you're telling it wrong." You know, so that kind of because I don't think it's interesting. So I don't know Megan would. She might, but I don't know that she ever wants to be. I know Alexis is doing the stand-up, but on her terms, she wants to be out there.
Yeah.
I don't know that she would want to do something like this necessarily. But no, I like I said, I think that like what we've been doing, the open forum, the open forum, good. But there's so much more.
There's so much
more.
Speaking of that, if anybody's listening, we want to start a suggestion box where we take suggestions from listeners, we take suggestions from anything, and it's just a topic.
Right.
It can be as specific or as non-specific as possible. We're going to turn it into whatever.
Right.
But we want to build just like have days where we just like, okay, today we're doing a suggestion box topic, and we're just going to pull it. And that's what we're going to talk about. And it's just going to run like that. You know, I will say that nothing's off limits, but we won't. I'm not going to sit here and discuss politics the whole time we're doing it. Or, I mean, I will bring it into it. But I'm not going to sit here and answer a specific question like, I can't even think of one right now. I'm not going to say that because I might still do it. Put it in the comments. There's a comment section, I believe, on Spotify.
Yeah,
there's. Put it in the comments. I'll get it, and we'll throw it in there if there's any suggestions to our 7 listeners that are out there. So, and then I want to have somebody on.
I do too.
I don't know who.
So I threw it at Kyle.
Okay.
And so
Kyle Watts? Oh, you said Kyle, and I was thinking of
McNeil.
Yeah, McNeil. No. I was like,
no.
Okay, Kyle Watts.
I threw it at Kyle. He did not seem opposed to the idea.
Okay.
Though he is very much like, are you prepared for what I might say?
Yeah. It's okay. We're not live.
Right.
I can post edit.
Right. So he's not opposed to the idea because he's not opposed to the idea. Josh
Rasmussen?
Yep.
Okay.
Talked to him a little bit about it. He is open for it, though I don't know an hour is enough to contain the brain matter that is Josh sometimes.
I don't either. It's not.
Right. Yeah.
Let's just be honest.
Right. That might have to be a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Because he is you think we talk. Whew.
Yeah.
I love you, Josh.
Yeah, I do too. I love you, man.
But there are different. I think there are different folks that we could. Like I said, we have there's the other mic.
Yeah,
right there.
So I also want John Becker. He puts on the 4th of July.
Oh yeah,
stuff here. So I'd like to have him on before then, just to kind of talk about it.
Right.
He did one last year, but I'd like to have him on to talk about just what's coming up and the things he puts on, and then John's interesting anyway. So but yeah. So and then maybe one day we'll just have somebody random on. I'll just find somebody as I'm here, and just be like, hey, come do a podcast, just off the street.
Yeah. Hey, what are we talking about? Yeah, I don't know.
What do you want to talk about?
I mean, our ideas come 5 minutes before the show.
This is true. But that's what's cool about this. I mean, I think we are going to get. We'll eventually get into some added on shows where there's not our standard show like we talked about. Where we do a few things, but. I like the open forum of just kind of being able to talk about anything and just be able to just see where it goes.
Yeah.
I really like comedy. I think we should do one of these every now and then.
Yeah.
We should prepare next time for some good dad jokes. I
was gonna say, if my phone wasn't over there, we could have pulled some up or show whatever. But it is the idea of we've done serious business. Man, you gotta laugh too.
Yeah.
You gotta be funny, silly, whatever. Whatever pops into mind sometimes is what's necessary. And there might be times where, we actually, something comes up locally, nationally, whatever, that's important. I don't see anything super serious that warrants that not everybody's already talking about, you know, all the tariff stuff and all that. I don't care.
I don't either.
I really don't.
I don't either.
I don't care.
I have lived in for the past 20 years, I have lived in a constantly fluctuating economy.
Right.
Up, down, left, right, sideways, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We have lived in a constantly fluctuating society.
Mm-hmm.
It's only a big deal because the media is making it a big deal.
Yep, agreed.
Everybody's like, oh, the prices are going to go sky high. The prices have been going up for a decade.
Yeah.
It's not like they're going to go down drastically. At best, they'll level out.
They'll level out. They'll never go down.
They'll never go down because now companies know they can get it.
Right.
So, I mean, with the whole, this is tariffs and this, and it's going to be a trade war and it's going to be this and it's going to be that. All that means is I got to do things a little differently.
Yeah.
Every 4 to 8 years, we have to do something a little differently.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's not, it is going to be major for some people, but I would say the majority of the population, they're not going to see too much of a difference.
Right. I don't think so.
They're only going to see a difference because they look for it.
Right.
That's the only reason.
Yep.
Like a couple of my businesses, my prices are going up a little bit, but they're not going up 25%.
Right.
Like people are like, so 25%. They're not going up 25%. Right. That's just the case. There are some specific industries that might, but they're not.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, you look at it, I laugh about it.
I
kind of just shut up. Don't want to talk about it. I do like the idea of hopefully, I actually want your wife to make up some.
Oh yeah.
Because you want to talk about the times that will be funny, that would actually make us laugh. I don't know if your wife. I would love to see her do that.
Yeah,
to actually
I'll tell her. I'll tell her
because she would come up with some crazy ideas.
She would.
Scenarios. Talk about this.
Yeah.
Who wrote this? It might just be that.
Yep.
Who?
I should get Declan to make some.
Oh, that would be.
If I ask Cole, it's going to be about Minecraft or something. I know, but but I should get Declan to make a couple and just throw those in there randomly because there is no telling what might come out of his mouth. But get my wife to write them down so I don't know what they are beforehand because I don't want to know them. I don't want to be pre-planned that I'm going to pull one.
Yeah, right.
So I think that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, that's like I said. We just get a fishbowl and
just
dig them out. Something
That'd
like
be
that.
cool.
I think it would. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, sir, we've had enough. I know.
It's almost an hour.
I know.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. Yes, it does, sir. Yes, it does. So, Dathan, beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Love the conversation. What are your final thoughts?
Find humor in life.
Yeah.
Point blank. I mean, I know we haven't been super serious, but man, laugh today.
Yeah.
Find humor in something that goes on. If you're about to take something too seriously, look at the comedy in it.
Right.
And just find comedy in it and laugh about it.
Right.
Your day will be so much better.
Right.
Your week will be better.
Yeah.
Laugh first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that looks like for somebody, but just laugh.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a cure for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Laughter is.
Yeah. Oh, it cures so much, even in the most stressful situations. Finding 5 minutes or whatever to laugh makes a world of difference.
Mm-hmm.
And so I agree with you. Find something to laugh about, and life will be richer.
It will be.
Yeah,
it will be.
So, with that, folks, another episode of Distracted Thoughts in the can. We look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.